The next day was quite eventful at 432 Proudfoot Avenue. First there was a serviceman, and then the policeman, and then the trouble about the license. Captain Cook was in the children's room watching Janie and Bill put together a jigsaw puzzle on the floor. He was very good about not disturbing the pieces after Bill had spanked him for eating them. He did not hear the refrigerator serviceman come to the back door. Miss Popper had gone marketing for canned shrimps for the penguin. So Mr. Popper was alone in the kitchen to explain to the serviceman what he wanted done to the refrigerator. The serviceman put his tool bag down on the kitchen floor, looked at the refrigerator, and then Mr. Popper, who to tell the truth had not shaved yet, was not very tidy.
Mister, you don't need no ventilating holes in that there door.
It's my icebox, and I want some holes bored into the door,
said Mr. Popper. They argued for quite a while. Mr. Popper knew that to get the serviceman to do what he wanted, all he had to do was explain that he was going to keep a live penguin in the icebox, and that he wanted his pet to have plenty of fresh air. Even though the door was closed all night, he felt a little stubborn about explaining how unsympathetic the serviceman, who was already standing at Mr. Popper as if he thought Mr. Popper was not quite right in the head.
Come on, do what I said. I'm paying you for it.
With what?
Mr. Popper gave him a $5 bill. It made him a little sad to think how many beans it would have bought for Miss Popper and the children. The serviceman examined the bill carefully as if he didn't trust Mr. Popper too much. At last he put it in his pocket, took a drill from his tool bag, and made 5 small holes in a neat pattern on the refrigerator door.
Now, don't get. Wait a minute. There's one more thing.
Now what? I suppose now you want me to take the door off its hinges to let in a little more air, or do you want me to make a radio set out of your icebox?
Don't get funny. Believe it or not, I know what I'm doing. I'm having you. I want you to fix an extra handle on the inside of the box so it can be opened from the inside of the box.
That is a fine idea. You want an extra handle on the inside? Sure.
He picked up his tool bag.
Aren't you going to do it for me?
Oh, sure.
Said the serviceman, edging toward the back door. Mr. Popper saw that for all his words of agreement, that the serviceman had no intention of putting it on a handle.
I thought you were a serviceman.
I am. That's the first sensible thing you've said yet.
You're a fine kind of serviceman if you don't even know how to put an extra handle on the inside of an icebox door.
Oh, I don't I? Don't think I don't know how. As far as that goes, I even got a spare handle in my tool bag and put to schools. You needn't think I don't know how to do it if I wanted to.
Mr. Popper silently reached into his pocket and gave the serviceman his last $5 bill. He was pretty sure that Miss Popper would be annoyed at him for spending all that money, but it could not be helped.
Fair enough. Mister, you win. I'll fix your extra handle. And while I'm doing it, you sit down on that chair over there facing me where I can keep an eye on you.
Fair enough,
said Mr. Popper, sitting down. The serviceman was still on the floor putting in the final screws that held the new handle in place. When the penguin came out to the kitchen, his silent pink feet, surprised at seeing a strange man sitting on the floor, Captain Cook quietly walked over and began to pet him curiously. But the serviceman was even more surprised than Captain Cook. Or perhaps it was the serviceman. Mr. Popper was not sure just what had happened. When he picked up himself in a chair a moment later, There had been a shower and no flopping tools and a slamming the door. The serviceman was gone. These sudden noises, of course, brought the children running. Mr. Popper showed them how the refrigerator was now all remodeled for the penguin. He showed Captain Cook, too, by shutting him inside. The penguin at once noticed the shiny new inside handle and bit it with his usual curiosity. The door opened and Captain Cook jumped out. Mr. Popper promptly put Captain Cook back inside and shut the door again to be sure that the penguin learned his lesson. Before long, Captain Cook became quite skillful at getting out and was ready to be taught how to get inside when the door was shut. By the time the policeman came back to the back door, Captain Cook was going in and out of the refrigerator as easily as if he had lived in one his whole life. The children were first to notice the policeman.
Is this 432 Proudfoot Avenue?
It is.
Well, I guess this is the place, all right.
Said the policeman.
Is that thing yours?
Yes, it is.
And what do you do for a living?
Asked the policeman sternly.
Papa's an artist.
He's always getting paint and calcium all over his clothes.
I'm a house painter, a decorator.
Said the
Won't you come in?
I won't, unless I have to.
Ha ha.
The policeman is afraid of Captain Cook.
Bah.
said the penguin, opening his red beak wide as if he wanted to laugh at the policeman.
Can it talk? What is it, a giant parrot?
It's a penguin. You keep it for a pet.
Well, if it's only a bird.
Said the policeman, lifting his cap to scratch his head in a puzzled sort of way.
From the way that fellow with the tool bag yelled at me outside, I thought there was a lion loose in here. Mama says Papa's hair looks like a lion sometimes.
Keep still, Bill. The policeman doesn't care how Papa's hair looks.
The policeman now scratched his chin.
If it's only a bird, I suppose it'll be okay if we keep him in a cage.
We keep him in an icebox.
You can put him in the icebox for all I care. What kind of bird did you say it was?
A penguin. And by the way, I might want to take him walking with me. Would it be alright if I kept him on a leash?
I tell you, honestly, I don't know what the municipal ordinance about penguins is, with or without a leash on the public streets. I'll ask my sergeant.
Maybe I ought to get a license for him.
It's certainly big enough for a license. I tell you what to do. You call up the city hall and ask them what the ruling about penguins is. Good luck to you, Popper. He's kind of a cute little fellow. At that, looks almost human. Good day to you, Popper, and good day to you,